Hello, fellow RVers. This is Gary and Sharon. We're sitting here right now at Ocklackney
River State Park.
River State Park, Sopchoppy, Florida. A couple months ago, we did a day trip to the Alamo in Texas. Let's go.
To the Alamo. We were staying at Guadalupe River State Park when we visited the Alamo, which is in San Antonio, Texas. Also, Potter's Creek is another one that is right nearby. Good morning from Texas. We're going on a field trip today. That's right, a little extra exercise. Adventure number 1, finding a place to park.
Now, parking around there, there's not really what I would call free parking. We pay $10 to park.
Yeah, there's parking areas around there, so you do your research because there's no parking at the Alamo. They don't have a button.
Nobody coming?
Nope. Go. Go, 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 go. But boy, when they do come, they come fast, don't they?
We made it to the Alamo.
Yes, we did. Enter.
Enter.
Be silent, friend. Here heroes died.
So back when I was a young teenager living at home, my parents, we actually went on a family vacation, actually to see my aunt in New Mexico. And while we were out there, we went to the Alamo, but that's been like a century ago. So it was interesting for me to revisit some place that I had been as a child growing up with my parents. So that was interesting about it.
And for me, I have never been to the Alamo, but I have always, all my life, ever since I was a child, wanted to go to the Alamo. And I think I have always had this fascination with Texas. It was just a building I wanted to go and see. And so I was so happy that our travels brought us close to the Alamo and that we could check it out. So when I first entered the Alamo, I can't describe the feeling I had. Awe just comes to mind because it was so overwhelming to be in such a place of importance. So much history happened there, and to see the walls and the windows and just be in that space is pretty impactful for me.
Yeah, it was a major battle in U.S. history, especially in the history of Texas.
Yes, and so just walking around there and reading all the kiosks and it tells you what you're looking at. But there's one thing you need to know about how to visit the Alamo.
Yeah, you go online and you reserve a time, like 10 to 11 or a time that you're going to be there, because they only let so many people in.
And it's free.
And it's free, but they just want you to reserve a time so they get an idea of how many people are going.
They do have paid tours there, or you can purchase an audio tour to listen to while you walk around the Alamo. The Alamo, as you walk in, you are looking at a 300-year-old building. It was built in 1724, and it was originally built as a mission, the Mission San Antonio de Valero. And interesting fact, it was in 2 other locations before it was built in the current location. And then in 1803, it became a military fortress for the Alamo Company, and that is a part of the Spanish Army. So in those days, it was part of Spain, because Mexico was part of Spain. So next came a period of unrest. In this time, Mexico gains independence from Spain. President Santa Anna appends the current constitution, and Texians take control of San Antonio and the Alamo. So all these things were happening.
Now, Santa Anna didn't like that.
No.
No, he didn't like the Texians taking the Alamo.
He didn't.
So he gathered up a bunch of soldiers and marched to the Alamo.
Right. And so the Texians is how they're called. I'm not sure why they're not called Texans, but it was a group of volunteers called the Defenders who fought in the Battle of the Alamo on March 6, 1836. That's when the actual battle happened, but it was after a 13-day siege. But these were volunteers. And who were the Defenders? Well, they were Texians, born in Texas. They were Mexican Americans, Tejanos. There were Europeans, African Americans. They're recent immigrants to America.
It was a melting pot of people.
Yes. The Mexican army outnumbered the Defenders, so the commander, Lieutenant Colonel William Travis, sent the famous letter you may have read about, seeking reinforcements to the people of Texas and all Americans in the world, ending with victory or death.
And you still see that on some Texas slogans and license plates and all that nowadays. Remember the Alamo, victory or death?
Yeah, and it's the importance of it will unfold here. So help did come from the town of Gonzales. There was a few men that were able to come out and join the Defenders. And I've read that some left, some came because they were volunteers. They didn't have to be there. But all in all, there were almost 200 men there to defend the Alamo.
I wonder how often they vacuum the money up.
You never know. The Alamo well.
Well.
This well provided water for the people of Mission San Antonio del Valero in the 1700s. Wow. And in the 1800s.
Hospital. You gotta get up close to get the glare off.
And on March 6, 1836, at dawn, the battle began. And 90 minutes later, it was over, and all the Defenders had perished.
Santa Anna had them outnumbered like 5-1.
Yeah, they were
or more than that even.
They were incredibly outnumbered. Even though the Defenders lost the battle, the number of Mexican soldiers who died that day outnumbered the 189 Texas Defenders that perished that day. So that's pretty impressive. And unbeknownst to the Defenders, Texas had just declared independence just days before.
Right.
While they were under siege. So moving forward to April 21st, 1836, the Texan Army, under command of General Sam Houston, attacked and defeated Santa Anna's army with the cries, "Remember the Alamo, remember Goliad, God and Texas." And Goliad, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, was a battle where 300 souls were lost. That happened after the Alamo.
Right. And of course the city of Houston became named after Sam Houston.
The Battle of the Alamo is an important event in American history. It rallied the rest of Texas to come together and to fight and defeat the Mexican army. Texas gained its independence from Mexico from 1836 to 1846. It was its own country, the Republic of Texas. Texas was its own country for 10 years. I did not remember that from all my schooling.
No.
So that was pretty exciting. So back to the Alamo, after years of use as a military post, storage, barracks, the Confederate Army used it, the U.S. Army used it, commercial use, and even a fire, the Alamo was falling into disrepair. 2 local women began a mission to save the Alamo. Adina de Zavala and Clara Driscoll and their Daughters of the Republic of Texas worked together to protect the Alamo. Only 2 original buildings are left today. Reminds me of a quote, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." Margaret Mead. So we're here at the Alamo today because of these 2 ladies and their efforts.
So we did the Alamo, and then right after the Alamo, we went right next door and we did the what's called the Riverwalk.
Riverwalk this way. There's the elevator.
It's a very scenic river walk.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
It's like right there by the Alamo. Of course, there's shops and restaurants and all that along
Sitting
the river
out,
walk.
little sitting areas along the water, and there's a river cruise that goes through there.
And we stopped and had, I guess, lunch at the Rainforest Cafe.
And you get frozen margaritas to go.
Michaela might like this.
Who?
Michaela.
Yeah. See the Poseidon over there?
Walk down there real quick and stand in front of the bear.
The Rainforest Cafe, if you've never been, it's an experience.
It is.
We're familiar with it because we're from Florida, but it's really cool.
Yeah, it has like it's like a rainforest inside with all the trees and stuff hanging down, and snakes and pythons.
And they're animatronics.
Animatronics. A gorilla comes to life, and the elephants go and raise their things up and down. So it's kind of cool in there. And the food's good.
And the food was good.
Yeah.
There's an upper level.
We came down.
Leaving San Antonio. On the Speedway.
We hope you enjoyed that little video tour of the Alamo and the history lesson.
And a little peek at the Riverwalk. A great place to go and unwind and enjoy some good food and nice scenery.
Yes.
In case you don't know us, I'm Sharon.
I'm Gary. I'm Sharon's husband.
I'm Sharon. This is Gary. And we are full-time RV travelers. We live in our RV and we travel. When we visited the Alamo, we were staying at Guadalupe River State Park. And that is, how far away was it from San Antonio? Do you recall?
I thought it was a half hour.
So it was a half hour. Also, Potter's Creek is a little bit further than that away, but we also stayed at Potter's Creek. So you can check out this channel, check those campground reviews out here and see what they're all about. But we also headed to another area that was tied in with the Alamo and what all went on with the history of Texas when we went to Stephen F. Austin State Park, which is located near Houston. But there you can visit a museum, and there's also the historic town of, make sure I say it right, the San Felipe de Austin State Historic Site. And there you can learn a little bit about the history of that town, and actually that was one of the places that a letter was sent for reinforcements for the Alamo. And we go over that briefly in our campground review of Stephen F. Austin State Park, so you can check that out on this channel too. So have you ever been to the Alamo? Is there something interesting you learned there that you didn't know? Drop it in the comments below, and we'll see you on the next video. Happy travels.
Gary and Sharon, take care.